So you want to learn the House of Spiders Otis. I don't blame you. She's the hottest and the newest ID in town, and the newest addition to the middle. So let's talk about her kits, status effects, passives, and what she does in the battlefield. What are her pros and cons this unit has, and what to expect out of this ID. So let's begin of how many skills, passives, and status effects this ID has. Outis has 9 clashable skills with the combination of dealing a ton of burn and bleed throughout her clashes with 7 passives. So let's start with her passives and the most interesting one, that being Sealed Sword Leviathan. When the battle begins, Outis' sword is sealed and can only unseal as the ID gets Rising Fever. The two ways are by using the counter skills that Outis has or by using the skill 3. Another passive is called Parroting, which, while Ishmael is on the field, a new status effect gains for Outis and Ishmael. That being, check this out, Kittle, that does less damage taken and more damage done for Outis, and while Ishmael gets I Got Praise, which does the same thing but for Ishmael. That being, if both win their clashes, gets this new status effect. Now, another passive is called Thanks Kittle. This passive only happens when Leviathan is out. During this, she can attack both allies and enemy while the middle has lost the clash and while they have low health also, which causes Outis to use a skill called Good Girl, your sacrifice for the family won't be forgotten. This skill would most likely kill the middle, and while killing the middle will also gain an envy damage up next turn. However, if this skill kills Ishmael, then Outis will gain Avenging My Family next instead. Now for the Book of Vengeance, which applies a mark to the enemies who have done the most damage to Outis. While this, there is a status effect called Grudge. Now to gain Grudge, is when an enemy hits one of the middle allies or the House of Spiders allies also. Another way of getting the grudge, if the target has Vengeance marked, it gains an additional grudge. Finally, for the support passive called Someone Mess With The Family, gives allies that has a counter skill protection and damage up. Or if the ally is in the middle, then it's envy damage up instead of damage up. Now to explain the other status effects that I have not explained throughout the passives, that being Ridiculous Grit, that basically makes any attack resistance above normal to normal and heals on clash wins. So basically, if your enemy is resilient to one type of attack type, that being slash, it goes all the way to normal. Now for the Sealed Swords, that has 4 phases, being Sealed Sword that deals bleed, blunt damage, and gains haste next turn. Then the first sealed being removed, being the second phase that does the same thing but plus burn. The second sealed removed is the third phase, which does the same thing but the attack is slash, and the next and final phase is called Leviathan, which inflicts burn to all units on the field and has a pierce attack. And during this new phase, replaces all the base skills with a new set of skills that's exclusive to this phase only. The next status effect, that being Avenging My Family, which just buffs envy and final power of base skills. Now for the skills, the first skill that Outis has is called Stomping, that has 2 coins and deals bleed on both hits on the enemy, while also giving Outis some SP and an increase to the stagger threshold. The second skill called Don't Let Something Like This Break You, that has 3 coins inflicting bleed, burn, paralyze, bind, and blunt damage. Second and third skills also deal burn and bleed if in phase 1 and 2 of Sealed Sword. Third skill is Time to Unpack, which has 4 coins that are unbreakable, with the first hit inflicting burn, second bleed, third rising the threshold. This skill also removes a seal from Outis' sword. As I said earlier, when Leviathan is out, a new set
가족끼리는 전부 가족을 위한 일이다. 잘했다, 딸!
I'll cut you like a fish, that does bleed, burn, and it has 2 coins. Now the second skill called Gut Stab, that has 5 coins, dealing burn and bleed, also with blind and paralyzed next turn, while giving Outis some aggro slot. Third skill is Complete an Extermination, that has 5 coins, dealing burn and bleed, while doing slash on the 3rd, 4th hit, while on the 5th hit it does both piercing and blunt damage on use. while she consumes all the grudge for herself. The third and fourth skills are called Good Girl, Your Sacrifice Won't Be Forgotten, with 1 coin that is target fixated to Ishmael or an ally of the middle that gains some grudge. This skill is unclashable. Have unbreakable coins that lose some SP and deal final power for every bleed burn the enemy has. And finally, the defense skill is called Rude Violation, which has 2 coins. And that is a counter skill that inflicts bleed and lowers her stagger threshold. So this unit has a lot to unpack. And I would just say that she's pretty good. Pretty good unit. To sum it up, you just have to build a grudge, unleash the sword with time to unpack, and just spam counter while also having the middle as your team, which helps a bit. This unit applies a lot of burn and bleed, so if you don't have the middle, I would recommend having a team that does apply a lot of that. That is if you can't get the middle. Overall, this ID is good and is worth the summon in shards. That being said, in conclusion, this ID is a good addition to the middle. Not that much cons to this ID, only one being that it takes a while for her to get strong and unleashing her sword and maybe even killing your allies if the match goes too long. But other than that, she's pretty good. So with that, I hope you enjoy the team killing and hope we get IDs more just like Ryoshu and Outis. So thank you for watching and goodbye.